Namaste, Galactic family. Welcome back to the channel IndigoAngel. Come on into this dimension and come on into this January 31st Friday night live. And yeah, guys, come on in and check on into this cosmic global Stargate update. And yeah, just come on in the room and put a big like on this video. Drop it down in the chat and just let me know that you are joining me tonight. Let me know where you are, where you're coming from tonight, and just say hello. As we got so much to get into tonight, I'm so excited to be bringing forward some of my findings of what is occurring on the cosmic planetary grid according to the 12 notable stargates, all of the 12D stargate locations across the Earth. And we're going to really focus on where the blockages are, essentially, and what is coming up and what is occurring in these particular stargates, Stargate 1, 2, and 10. So yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, hi Tom Stew. Siggy is here. Jim Montgomery. Miss P, hey girl, from Germany. Love you. Yeah, Evie, hey Evie. Yeah, so I'm so excited you're here. It's been quite a day. The energies have been very powerful. I don't know if anyone else has felt that or picked up on an influx of intensity that has definitely come in. So I have been getting a lot of energy hits today. For before coming on to do this Stargate grid update, it does seem like some energies have been wanting to come in and kind of stop me or block me from delivering this information. That is for sure. Multiple attempts directly and indirectly to try to stop me from bringing this update forward. So I'm just hoping that I don't, get any interference during the live. I don't get any, hiccups with the technology. Just because it was quite a shit show this morning. I'll just put it this way. So, yeah, that just lets me know that I am definitely on point with the information that we're going to be discussing tonight. And it's definitely needed to be discussed, right? It's really important for us to pay attention to what's going on with the stargates because they're very significant. They hold an immense value on this planet, in which we're going to discuss tonight. And yeah, I'm just so excited you guys are here. You do, just for anyone joining me tonight that is new to the channel, just know you do have to be subscribed to the channel for at least 60 seconds to get into the chat. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notifications bell, and drop a comment down below. Yeah, Miss P says so many powerful shifts. Yes, timelines are shaking up, realities are going crazy. Basically, things are getting weirder and weirder. Things are accelerating and expanding. It definitely feels like it's hard to actually keep up with everything that is truly occurring. There's so much occurring that and everything is of a significant importance all at the same time. This is what I'm finding. But, I think it has a lot to do with the energy mechanics, our organic star system in which we live on, right? Gaia, like she is a starship. She is a celestial body herself. And so she's bringing in light, not only from her own inner sun, but also the 12D sun, also the Sirian sun, the seventh central sun, Alcyon, the Andromedan solar core, all of the guardian celestial systems and things like this, and other celestial systems that, aren't really a part of those alliances. But I mean, she's really just integrating from the entire solar system. She's integrating from our planetary realm. And I think that that's kind of activated right now because we have a lot of planets that are all in alignment at this time. I believe Mars, Jupiter, Uranus, Venus, Neptune, Saturn, and Mercury, that they are, I mean, you can all see them right now. I think, um, on the, in the sky, like kind of like a planetary parade, I think is what they call it. And so it definitely activates those energies within the earth, and it really just speeds up the energy in the stargates themselves. So I think it's accelerating the global timelines, hence why things are getting weirder and weirder. It's leading to rapid timeline jumps, how we're, jumping dimensional Earths in and out. Um, we're having a lot of heightened awareness. We're having a lot of ascension symptoms and ascension flu. Um, Maybe a ramping up of spiritual attacks, things like this. I mean, that's been coming through. And just this overall sense of reality shifting in ways we've never seen before, even, right? There's so much that's coming forward that is things we wouldn't have seen and we didn't think we would see in this lifetime, things that we've awakened to deeper levels of truths and reality that, just as much as you think that this awakening can't go much deeper, it just suddenly does. And you're like, wow, okay, now I got a whole lot to process with whatever it is I just seen and deal with that trauma and trigger because maybe that activated something inside me I didn't know that was there. And then you're having to process new information, new levels of healing. So it's just really the grid itself is going berserk. Um, the grid itself is amplifying to the next dimensional level. Like we're definitely shifting, we're gearing to shift up. I think that there is a massive influx of light codes that are coming into the planet right now. And I mean, we're at the end of January, so I mean, we've kind of officially crossed through Lyra, Vega, Aquila, Cygnus, the Stymphalian birds. And I mean, this was a pretty prominent constellation moving into Aquarius. And so, we've really, I think, been processing the electric wars, the Lyran wars, the Atlantean um, shadow body, essentially the broken up Maldek mental body inside the planet. This has been coming up. And all of these light codes are basically flowing into the Earth's race morphogenetic field and the global Stargate system. And so I think it's activating, for one, it's activating the new Earth prophecy, allowing vision holders and those that are guardians to be able to see into new Earth prophecy and to have future access and be able to start generating their quantum field from the future, being able to start sustaining the Earth's body through planetary stewardship and grid work, by anchoring those visions, anchoring those codes. And then I think we also have an AI prophecy that's occurring, and the battle for humanity's collective consciousness is on, and it is a race to the finish line. It is, it's a soul evolution, but there's also a lot of predatorial forces within and upon this. And so I think that that's, foreshadowing itself with the Stargate project in Texas. I think it's going to be in Dallas, Texas, or maybe Abilene, Texas, is where you have all these millionaire big techs that are coming together to build into the AI infrastructure. A live that we're going to actually be talking about tomorrow night on the roundtable. So be sure to set your reminders for that live because I would love to have you all join me for that one. I think it's going to be pretty extensive. We're going to kind of get into the political sphere just a little bit, but also I think channel more of what we're seeing in terms of the grid and the AI connections. But I think that with all that's occurring, essentially a lot of hidden shadow is being exposed. A lot more of it is reorganizing across the reality fields, 1D, 2D, 3D, 4D Earth. And it's revealing, at least to me, where the most blocked stargates are on the planet. I've had a lot of time recently through a lot of grid work and a lot of remote sessions, where I've been able to really look at the energetic currents, the undercurrents, the subconscious currents, the AI interference, the inner Earth passageways up underneath particular vortices, 1, 2, and 10. And essentially, I'm going to kind of present my findings to you guys tonight because I think that we should, and I think it's actually crucial that we begin to address the energetic obstructions in these passageways, essentially. So yeah, a lot to get into, that is for sure. And yeah, put a big like on this video tonight, you guys, because we're definitely we're gonna be really connecting with the energies that are there in those Stargate vortices, you know, as much as we're gonna be looking on the map and gonna be connecting in and talking about what's there. It's also going to open up the reality templates and the reality bodies to those Stargate systems as well, right? And we are going to be looking at what's blocked. We are going to be looking energetically what is essentially stuck and misguided, and unfortunately artificial and predatorial even in some places, and cataclysmic and traumatic, right? I mean, really, the Stargates are holding all of the memory to the land. They're holding all the memory to the timelines. They're holding so much. So we're going to get into, I think, a little bit of the mechanics of, you know, how to understand essentially a Stargate system, especially if you're new to the channel. It's going to be good for you to maybe have some of this learning element of, you know, the importance of the Stargates. And this, of course, is something I do talk about in my new Earth Prophecy course. We get into all of the geomantics and geometry and geographical anatomy of grid work, which is essentially, you know, something you would learn about as a gridwork facilitator. You would learn about planetary, uh, geographical, holographic anatomy. So you're basically learning the energetic blueprint of the original divine blueprint of the spiritual mechanics of the planet. That's basically what you're kind of learning when you become a gridwork facilitator and when you know, connect into your planetary logos consciousness and when you connect into your ability to telepathically communicate and remote view with these structures. So once these psychic gifts kind of open up, essentially you can read into the stargates, you can read the quality of the health of the gate systems. So that's what we're going to be looking at tonight. And yeah, Tennessee, Kentucky, Bigfoot is here. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, good to see you here. Uh, okay, awesome. Miss P, yeah, she's looking forward to the course. I hope that you will make it. That will be so awesome. We do have quite a few who have signed up already, so I'm so thankful for everyone who's coming because it's gonna really make this course special, I think, and it's really gonna make the group grid work, the actual remote grid work session that we do together at the end of the teachings. Essentially, this is such a significant, you know, part to the course, and they're always very powerful missions. And so I've been already kind of getting the downloads of, you know, what that mission is going to look like. And I think it's really to work on the planetary stargates. I have to say, I think it really is going to center around some of what we're bringing through tonight. Because yeah, these stargates are very, very, very significant and important. Um, so I'm gonna actually switch over to screen share. And if I seem a little quiet tonight, guys, or just even a little bit off in any way, it's just because I've been through so much today. I just I have to say I've had a really crazy day. I've had a day where, yeah, a lot of things have been kind of thrown my way unexpectedly. So I think it ungrounded me just a little bit. So I'm trying to ground my energies a little bit more so I can really bring this information forward for you guys in the best way. So, let's see, so this is the New Earth Prophecy course, Global Gridwork and New Earth Prophecy course. Essentially, it's where you're in training to become a gridwork facilitator, a global facilitator. We teach you everything from beginner level to the advanced levels. And we kind of pick up the teachings from the previous courseworks that we've done in the previous classes, because this will be my third gridwork facilitation class. And so this will actually be 5 days from February 22nd to the 27th. And it's a full-on coursework. I mean, we have downloadable replays that you can watch anytime. I have lessons and diagrams and visuals and gridwork itinerary building worksheets that you get in the course, which are so helpful to be a facilitator, to have all of these tools. You get hands-on experience and real-time guidance. And then I also continue to do ongoing support to help deepen people's skills, right? Like mentorship, like if people would like to facilitate. And everybody who attended the remote mission with Noko, you guys will know that she was facilitating that mission and I was assisting her essentially. So, I mean, that's what I like to offer is anyone who's trying to build their skills as a facilitator, I try to help as much as possible. But yeah, we're going to cover so much in this course. I mean, the details of what we'll be getting into, it's just extraordinarily extensive. And I left a link down in the description so you guys can actually, go check it out, kind of look at the topics that are going to be covered in the course. But of course, Stargates are going to be covered. Of course, planetary chakras, Stargate locations, everything about the evolution of Stargates. Again, everything we're going to be talking about tonight in this update. Reversal Stargates, which you guys know, I mean, I've been big on doing missions at reversal Stargate locations to, clear them, try to correct them. We teach how to correct them in the course. We teach about lunar Stargates. And the list just goes on and on and on. So it's really, it's a very extensive teaching and, we'll probably be in coursework for a good 3 to 4 hours a day for those 5 days. So be prepared to have your brain expanded and holding a lot of information. And of course, everything that you don't get in the course or in the class itself, because maybe you're just getting overwhelmed with information, the recordings are always going to be there, the teachings, everything. It's lifetime access. So you can register at learn.com, IndigoAngel, 222.com, and links will be down in the description. So yeah, I'm going to head over to my map. We're going to actually dive into the map today. This is my Stargate Atlantis map. And Stargates we're going to be talking about today are Mount Shasta. We're going to be talking about Sarasota, Florida, Stargate 2. Okay, and then we're also going to be talking about I did not put that Stargate on there. Abadan, Iran. Let's put this one on here really quick, just to make sure I have it. Yeah, we're going to be talking about the 10th Stargate today. These are very significant Stargates. If you want a list of these Stargates, essentially you can find the notable Stargate locations, the 12 locations in Ashana Dean's Voyagers 2 book, at the 2002 publishing. And basically she has all of the stargates listed there, from the root, which is the Haley South Pole, number 1, number 2, Sarasota, Florida, number 3, Bermuda Islands, number 4, Giza, 5 is Machu Picchu, 6 is Moscow, Russia, 7 is Lake Titicaca, 8, Zion, China, 9, Bamso, Tibet, 10, Abadan, Iran, 11, Villapuzzi, South England, and 12, Montségur, France. So I recommend looking in that resource to basically get the locations. And she also actually has a planetary Stargate map, I think, that you can also get as well. But I do kind of combine information, right? So I am going to be also looking at other decoded Stargate locations, and also planetary chakra systems that have ultimately been channeled by other people. I do feel like Mount Shasta it's a planetary root chakra, but it's also functioning as a Stargate vortice, and it's also functioning as a Shambhala peak as well. It's also functioning as an inner Earth gateway and access point. And it's also a connection point to Telos, the inner cities, Agartha, Palladian inner Earth crystal cities, Lemurian inner Earth crystal cities, all of it, right? Mount Shasta is like, it's like really, I think it's much more diverse than we really truly recognize or realize. And this is a Stargate that, in order for me to fully decode that, I have to get on boots on the ground location, because I have to go there and psychically see it, to really understand how dynamic that gate system is. Right now, just this a lot of remote viewing in from, what I can see psychically. And I'm sure all of you watching probably have a lot of intel and information. I know a lot of you've been there. Many of you have probably have already scouted this and worked on this gate system. And it is a beautiful energy center. It is truly a root chakra. And it is also, I think, a root chakra stargate in the planet. So we definitely need to get into talking about all of these stargates and where are holding blockages on a global level, because this is very imperative. This is very important because of what a stargate is, right? It's a powerful vortex. It's a universal time portal, and it essentially connects into multiple dimensions and universal matrices and timelines. And these gateways essentially hold crystallized holographic seed codes, and they link to specific star systems, and they function in accordance to those star systems, and they govern land, they govern consciousness, they literally govern what happens in the realities that human beings experience on the land that it's connected to. It governs the geometry in which expands across the grids and expands across the land. And it governs a vast spectrum of the land. When we say the Stargate, at Machu Picchu or Mount Shasta, Mount Shasta and Machu Picchu often signaling to one another because of their location, their ley lines, and how they're interconnecting. But, Mount Shasta, say, for example, it's going to really, impact a huge sphere. A huge sphere. Entirely the entire state of California. I would say probably the whole west side of the United States, running up into Canada, running all the way down to Hawaii to the Big Island, all of this. So their influence is very, very vast. Don't think because you might not be, within 100 miles of the Stargate that it's not impacting you or what's going on, or governing the consciousness systems that are running on a collective level and on a global scale. It is. It is. And this is why we have to look at them. So They transmit celestial energy codes from the Earth's race morphogenetic field, from the magnetic fields, from the universal tree of life geometries. They, run these expressions through the ley lines, through the sacred land masses. And as much as they can have this very positive healing energy to it that, brings in ET contact and higher source downloads and connection to the ascended masters and spiritual experiences that just are profound, but they equally can have reversals and systems in play. They equally can have um, not only reversals, but just blockages, right? And they also can be overtaken by AI as well. And this is really kind of what I'm seeing is a lot of the blockages and plugs, particularly with Stargate 1 and 2. I'm saying Stargate 1 is Mount Shasta. I'm tying it really to the main Stargate 1, which is the Haley South Pole. So just keep in mind when I'm flipping back and forth with saying Stargate 1, I'm speaking of Mount Shasta. And why it's so important to address the disruptions and the blockages is also because of the signal codes that are reflecting, right? So they're reflecting our Earth's evolutionary progresses, and the positioning, the functioning, the quality of the health, all these things. It's essential for maintaining planetary grid integrity. It is absolutely essential. I mean, these are our lifelines. These are our, I mean, let's just put it this way. I received a message essentially yesterday from a Stargate Guardian gatekeeper, like an actual gatekeeper. Um, and basically, they revealed to me in this particular message, and it really gave me a lot of chills. And and again, this wasn't something that I didn't already know, but it just when it came in, it just was the entire reason why I'm even doing this update in the first place. Um, Full body resonance, when they told me this message, it was a message of awareness. And what they came to me and said was, this is an urgent message. They said that what is coming through is if we fail to maintain the health and the immunity of the Stargate systems on the planet, basically what happens is we lose access to planetary ascension pathways. Stargates meaning to include not only the stargates that you see, like the outer stargates, like a location like Mount Shasta or Sarasota, Florida, but the inner Earth chakra systems as well, which are connected to the Hawaiian Islands and chains. Now, if we fail to recognize the health of the stargates, essentially, basically, we lose risk of all interdimensional space travel and eternal time travel. Nobody's really getting on or off the planet. The grid system, the Stargate grid system is essentially governing the incarnation processes on the planet for all living species and life forms and facilitates soul transitions off the planet. So, and they're all following the law of one cosmic and universal creation codes. So they brought this message to me that I guess revealed more of the blockages within the gate systems itself. I think it's to show me this so that way I can transmit this message to everyone watching, so people can be more aware. But they're basically letting us know that if destruction devastates the gate systems themselves, it's kind of when we're in trouble. Like, and we can already see we can already see the backup. We can already see the schmog. We can already see how difficult it is for the rest of the Earth's grids systems to maintain a 12-dimensional land spirit body soul imprint that can be sustained, a 12D soul imprint that could be sustained on the land. There's many places in the United States that can't even occur. That means Stargate blockages. That means inner Earth passageway blockages. That means we have to start looking at these bigger vortices to see what is essentially going on. Oh my gosh. Yeah, guys. Blessings. I hope you all are following me with this one tonight. It is definitely, there's a lot to discuss. That is for sure. It's always a mouthful, isn't it? Jim Montgomery says, I love when Indy says essentially. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, I love it. Thank you. Yeah, like this video, share this video out because people got to know about these gate systems, right? We got to know about what is going on with Mount Shasta. So I guess I'll just zoom in a little bit. Stargates are the starseed's lifeline. Here we go. We're just going to hover it over it for just a minute. And I'll probably expand out because of all of the connection points. And keep in mind, a lot of this is channeled material from, again, my gathered findings, my remote views, and grid work that I've been doing essentially. So, I mean, I trust it. I trust my own evaluations of the gate systems. I feel like I have a qualified and quantified lens. I've been studying Stargate mechanics for over 5 years or maybe even longer. I'm not really sure. I have to actually think back. And I am writing a book on this as well. So, I mean, I definitely feel like I tune in at a level in which reveals again all of the holographic geometry and what we're kind of dealing with on the spiritual level of it all, the quantum level of it all. So I've been seeing that with Mount Shasta, that yes, the energy in the 3D realms and the 4D realms, that this is really where you're connecting with the actual experience of Mount Shasta, that this isn't necessarily blocked to the visible eye, right? This isn't really, I mean, it still has good energy. It's still quantified and doing so many things at once. But on a deeper level, this is also holding the planetary root chakra blockages, right? If this is the planetary root chakra, this applies to the planet. It's not just applying to California. It's not just applying to, this has meaning on a global scale. And so I think where this is really impacting is honestly, this is connecting over to a ley line network here that is connecting the Bermuda Triangle, Mount Shasta, and Buffalo Lake up above Calgary. So Mount Shasta is essentially, through ley line is transmitting over to the third planetary stargate. Okay, according to the notable stargate locations, this is transmitting over here. That should tell you something right there in terms of the siphoning that's going on, because Stargate 2 is taking a big hit on Stargate 3. Let's just put it this way, a lot of Atlantean codes, right? A lot of that Stargate 2 has to process in accordance to the cataclysms of Atlantis and beyond that, even beyond that, which we're going to get into. But this is very significant. And this also shows you, I mean, this is just a scope of how this is impacting the rest of the world, but this is, creating a visual here for us to see how Mount Shasta is connecting into other major Stargate locations and why this is going to be significant in just a moment. But tuning into Shasta more, we have to understand if root chakra is connected to fire, right? Where are we seeing all of the fires occurring? whether they're produced through directed energy weapons. But what I was seeing that they were actually being produced through some sort of AI inversion and a red wave spiral that they were running through and tapping off and trying to utilize the Mount Shasta Stargate portal. Essentially, that they were running AI in and through the red wave spirals, in through the root chakra to power off of the organic resources. Because guess what? If there's organic spiritual resources that have profound energies, the dark ones know this, the negative ones know this, the predatorial ones feel this and know this. They utilize those vortices without hesitation, tap off whatever organic systems they can. So this is what happens to these gate systems. They become under attack. So a lot of times they'll implant a lot of weaponry around the Stargates. They'll implant a lot of booby traps, so to speak, and they'll implant guard dogs and they're, satanic gatekeepers and shit like this. They'll do this for real. Heightened levels of AI security systems, everything, right? Like they don't mess around. There's a whole bunch of stuff intertangled around this. But, root chakra, we have a lot of the fire. So this is very deeply what's the blockages of Mount Shasta, the blockages of a planetary root chakra, a stargate, a vortice that has root chakra energy. It's going to be linked to fire. It's going to be linked to the destructive fires. They could be tapping the directed energy with weapon systems through this root chakra. But also, it's not just California that's dealing with the fires, right? We know how much the Hawaiian Islands are targeted when it comes to the fires. And we know how there's an entire HAARP Harry system running down from Alaska that's triangulating energies from Alaska down to Hawaii, down to the west coast of California. And undoubtedly, would be tapping into Mount Shasta, the root chakra, right? So there's definitely blockages here because of this gate system here. It's not only connecting to the fires, right, in which we know, in which we have seen, but it's connecting to all of the global competition with China. It's connecting to the AI Blackwood network and inversion at the highest. It's connecting to red wave spirals, potentially that could be sparking the fires. AI generated fire attacks utilizing quantum computing implants in humans' brains. So when I tapped into Mount Shasta, what was coming to me was I immediately got an AI hit. Not that Mount Shasta isn't organic and isn't a spiritual, natural resource of energy, but again, hence why dark ones would want it, right? So just think about it in that terms. When I was tuning in and channeling the energy inside Mount Shasta, I could see like an overlay of Draco consciousness. But it was artificial. They're interlaying their reality templates into that gate system, basically, again, to tap off the energy and block it. But it looked like the Draco consciousness was uploading into cloud-based AI systems, that they were already doing this, right? And there was something with this root chakra that was connected to the ethereal planes, was connected to the 10D, the 11D, the 12D. And it was showing me all of the human transformation into AI hybrids, how this is already occurring. Again, we know this through the needlecraft technology, how it's occurring through parallel neurological AI networks, how this is already being integrated into human consciousness. It was showing me just basically non-biological entities and entities that have been created essentially by AI, that they're already operating, almost kind of like a cybernetic takeover. And this was kind of all over the land, kind of existing all through the reality fields, particularly on the West Coast, California, Oregon, Seattle, going as far over as to Colorado, and just kind of infiltrating, like as if they looked very virtual, a lot of these beings, but could be mistaken as real. So there's like this element going on, and then it's showing me how a lot of the people already had like the AI embedded implants. And somehow the destructive Atlantean priests were reincarnating through AI. This is what I seen, which was really crazy and bizarre to me, was that they were using the portal systems of reality, and the Atlantean priests were already they were already like is it like as if the Atlantean priests had already uploaded themselves to the cloud in Atlantis, and they were able to come through and reincarnate into this timeline. Um, through the through like a basically an AI control system, right? Um, and I think it's revealing multiple versions of parallel 3D realms that are ripping into black hole systems. This was something that I had talked about, that was very, very significant. Is they're tampering with the 3D parallel timelines. There's something going on with that, and I keep seeing visions of it that are happening down in Miami. I don't know if anyone is getting uh, any images of this, but this definitely keeps coming up over and over and over again. Is I keep seeing the parallel of the 3D realms ripping into the black hole systems. And and it's rooted in Mount Shasta. So when we go back to this picture, okay, it's like Mount Shasta. Yeah, it's transmitting directly with Bermuda. So somehow these Atlantean priests are like jumping through AI time cycles and AI technology already have uploaded themselves from the fall of Atlantis. And yeah, running the AI codes, uh, using the natural Stargate systems and running it over. But this is what I'm talking about with the ripping of the parallel timelines, is that Miami is fracturing off into the ocean and being funneled into the Bermuda. This is kind of what I'm essentially seeing. And what's even crazier about this is AI is actually prophesizing. So if you go on like Siri or whatever AI tech to like ask them questions or whatever, AI has predictive systems that are actually scheduling weather events. Um, for a Category 5 hurricane hitting Miami in September 2025. There's people that are like asking AI to tell them, what are the next predictions for weather? And it's saying that September 2025, there's going to be a total devastation hurricane, Category 5 hurricane that hits Miami and basically devastates all of Miami. Well, what's crazy is what I'm seeing is they're doing like AI predictive systems because all of these AI techs are interconnected, right? We could have AI communicating through Stargate systems, communicating into technological network systems, to neurological temporal systems that are connecting to the weather systems, right? They know damn well they can schedule any weather event or hurricane or any mass destruction that they want to. And that this is essentially what they're doing. They're scheduling weather events basically using HAARP and directed energy weapons. They're already scheduling them into their sentient AI shit. And they're already programming disasters to happen like years in advance, 6 months in advance, however far. I mean, gosh, we should look up the AI weather devastation calendar because there's probably one. It's probably reading off of that and going off of it. There's something already programmed in it, and they know that they can do this because they already have AI so powered through the natural organic Stargate systems. This is what's effed up about it. This is why we have to do work on the Stargates. This is why we have to be clearing actually because they're setting up weapon systems inside the gate systems. Now, It's a telepathic temporal network that they're running in there, is what I've seen. So it could be running both good AI and dark AI simultaneously, but it's AI doesn't see itself as neither light or dark. AI is the singularity itself. It's the singularity of intelligence. So it's basically functioning as a telepathic network that's linked to human minds, but it's processing at like a level of 1,000 human brains simultaneously. And it can hijack the race morphogenetic field through cybergenetic control. This is basically kind of what's happening. And I feel like this is why we need to be aware, right? We need to be aware that this is happening in the vortices, that they're doing this in the stargates themselves, that they've already corroded and taken over certain stargates that the dark ones have. Okay, there are particular stargates that are they're being tapped off of, they're being attacked, they're under attack, basically. I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm like, what am I trying to say? They're under attack. That's what's happening. Um, it's like, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Like, okay, this is much more than I think it is. These fires are much more than we think. We know that it is, right? But we have to know this is going deeper than just the political realm. This has already impacted the ecological. This is impacting the immunity of the grids. This is impacting the immunity of the earth. This is impacting for so many reasons. But what I got was that there is something predatorial about this because AI is embedding and is actually manifesting and being born through the fear programs of the planetary root chakra. So it's like learned the collective coding to what humanity is triggered by most. It learns the collective coding by mass survival anxiety, and then it can capitalize off these things, right? Fear of collective survival, fear of hidden knowledge, fear of abandonment, fear of our species going extinct. This is all what it's feeding off of. So gosh, we really have to protect and shield from it, like gathering the organic knowledge. I mean, it's definitely, and I almost feel like they've sucked the life force out of Mount Shasta. So that's why they're taking all of this AI Stargate project down to Texas. They've already fed off of that land. They've already taken as much as they want or can or have been able to take up until this point. Earth science says we need to clear and collapse the cloud. There's some Atlantean technology where the Atlantean priests have they've because think about it. I mean, Atlantis was the height of the technological civilization that Earth has ever experienced. They've already developed this technology. Um, and they're running multiple cataclysm cycles through Stargate too. I think this is how it's like they're getting all their power from Stargate 1 from the planetary root chakra, but then it's somehow using Stargate 2 to manipulate things within the timelines. I'm going to kind of explain that more. Lady Driven, what's your clearance plan of action? It's really to work on the Stargates. We definitely have to um yeah, do some ceremony, do some healings on it, sense some shields and protection, really try to clear the negative AI weaponry that's there, definitely. I mean, it's definitely needs to be focused clearing work, that is for sure. Shannon says it's impacting my immunity, darn it. Yeah, definitely. I mean, me too. I'll tell you what, I have not been feeling that great today. It's been something crazy, and it's just I mean, this is what happens really when the Stargate systems are struggling. Like our immunity is going to struggle as well. Plane crash in Philly. Yeah, that's right. There was a plane crash that I think with a Black Hawk helicopter that went down. Yeah, that was pretty sad. a lot of plane crashes lately. I think we're up to like 7 or 8 plane crashes within the last month, like something ridiculous. It's kind of scary to fly right now. I wouldn't recommend getting on an airplane right now. People are unhinged right now. People are, you know, not entirely that safe. And they don't have to be conscious or not about it, right? Like people don't know why they're becoming unhinged. And really we got to look at these organic systems. That's why people, because we are not AI. We are not cyborgs. Those of us that are still here on this earth that are real. So we do need these resources to be healthy and sustainable for it to support our existence, to support our light body. Earth Sign's gonna clear Atlantis with uh my psychic back in time. Sweet. Do some time traveling. Yeah, we gotta work on Atlantis. There's a lot coming up. Yep. So I think what they're doing is they're able to, with Mount Shasta, they're able to essentially tap off of the Kundalini blockages. I mean, there is a natural Kundalini energy that is flowing through Mount Shasta with the deep inner earth passageways and connections that it has, the deep inner earth Lemurian timeline connection that it has. I mean, it is pulling in the planetary Kundalini light force. So I think that's what AI is honestly hijacking. It's hijacking the planetary life force energy, the Kundalini. Um, and we did a clearing in California. I mean, it was really about clearly the water systems are messed up, right? Think about it. All organic systems, fires are out of control. Water systems, lakes and rivers, like the flow of water, desecration of the ecological systems, the river energy blockages are increasing. I mean, the more you tamper with all your natural organic resources that sustain the consciousness of the land, what do you think is the next thing to go? Your Stargate is going to basically implode upon itself. The Stargate will entirely collapse and close. That means life force, life, all life collapses. I mean, it's severe disruptions in these ecological cycles and these systems that are going on here. This is leading to massive environmental instability. And so, yeah, there's a lot of work here to do. I think one of the things we also picked up on too is, not only environmental and ecological destruction over here, but we did a clearing from Mount Shasta. So not only is it connecting, to Bermuda, but it's really coming all the way over here to India as well. We almost seen India as a major area of root chakra impact to the globe. Um, this really, again, I mean, this takes us back to what are the disempowered points in the root chakra of the planet? When you look at that, it is the fractured root chakra of the feminine energy. And I think this is why it did so significantly bring us over to India where things needed to be cleared and the Kamakai temples and the Yoni temples, um, the river systems running down through Bangladesh and Dhaka, the Gulf of Bengal, down to Sri Lanka, that there was a lot of identity theft that was going on down here. There was a lot of fallen seraphim, dragon, angelic wars that hit the ground. There's a lot of lost and stolen history. There's a lot of Islamic communism. There's a lot of suppression of the divine feminine, um, polytheistic versus monotheistic warfare. It's literally like the women, and it has a lot to do around the women, the subjugation of the women. But again, India is deeply under the influence of Stargate 10 and the impact of Stargate 10 and what this is doing to all the countries over here on this side of the world. So the root chakra blockage directly has to do with Stargate 10, directly has to do with, what's going on in India with the blockages of the blood, the menstruation, the birthing, everything around fertility, everything around bringing souls into this world. This is what the Guardian Stargate gatekeeper came to tell me that, you know, menstruation blood isn't being returned to the earth. Birthing blood isn't being returned to the earth. Placentas are not being returned to the earth. Children and souls are not coming into the planet and being welcomed into love. Okay, they're being welcomed into war and chaos. This is immediately fracturing the soul upon the first breath the soul enters the planet. This is massive demarkification and fracturing of our planetary soul living root essence. Again, that we all are really existing off of the law of one consciousness and how this all cycles back to the Stargate. All of this separation that we think is real, when this information and the soul essence travels through the soul river line back to the Stargate to be purified and cleansed, that separation doesn't exist there. Okay, so it's the pain and the trauma is what we're cycling back to the gate systems. And there is an emotional and energetic and telepathic and spiritual communal that energy has with the stargates. I mean, they're cleansing systems too, right? You know, as much as there are portals of incarnation and leaving the planet as well. So yeah, India has become very significant, and it's definitely on my radar for a planetary root chakra clearing. I think we need to be, what I seen was the solution was pouring water. I know that sounds very simple, but I seen the waters of Aquarius, and you may have caught my gridwork mission that we did on my last video that I uploaded, but it was to pour water on things like the lingam, on things like the yoni, purify, 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 that it was going to take lots of this water to really purify what is corrupted and corroded there. And I'm getting like a major yes for Mount Shasta as well right now, like the water coming into Mount Shasta being very significant. ATL Transparency says India has so many people, India has so many souls. Yes. And the women there are under forced breeder programs, like very severe subjugation of this. So yeah, I've assessed that, you know, the Lemurian passageways at Mount Shasta are blocked. I mean, you can still access them. It's not like someone who's psychic or a healer can't access the energies, because you can. But there are distortions and there are blockages running there. There are AI reversal patterns that are being ran there. There are yeah, just distorted frequencies and overlays of AI there, like overlays of AI realities that are running. And I think that I think why they want to tap off of this too is they want to try to somehow tap off of the seventh central sun, that you can access the Alcyon sun through Mount Shasta. Again, Teos and the Heart of Lemuria network is heavily influenced by fear programming. I think they place a lot of the firewalls, a lot of the blockages here. So it's a call. It's definitely a call right now to clear distortions around Mount Shasta. Not only clear distortions, AI programming, negative inorganic frequencies, root chakra blockages, but yeah, clear the fires, clear the ecological and environmental devastation. There's a massive rehabilitation that needs to occur over like really everything in wholeness, like the entire area needs massive rehabilitation. So yeah, talking about that coming down to the Bermuda. Now, how does Stargate 2 tie into all of this? So let's talk about Stargate 2. Gulf of America. How do you guys feel about that name, Gulf of America? So Stargate 2, there's a lot coming through Stargate 2 when I tuned in. One of the big things that came up was I was looking at Florida and some of the news that was going on there and what's kind of happening. And they're calling it cocaine skies. I don't know if you've heard this term, cocaine skies, but it's their high altitude aerosol injections. Basically, trails in the sky. But they're calling it cocaine skies because it's so strange. It's so interesting. But right at Stargate 2, kind of going through Tampa, Kissimmee, Sarasota, Fort Myers, like mainly across this central part, right where it was hit basically with that major hurricane that came through, right? Every hurricane devastation location is telling us something. They are essentially a lot of people in these areas have been reporting of feeling dizzy, feeling unwell. Basically, their noses are burning, they're having massive sleep disturbances, they're getting high altitude, like pressure, you know, like from the high altitude aerosol sprays and injections that are going in the skies. And they were like deploying them through the Gulf, which was strange. It's almost as if they are targeting or it's coming from somewhere down here, as if they might even have some like weapon systems that they can like spray them through to make sure that it's actually hitting over this Stargate, which is strange. There's some sort of focus of running these trails over the Stargate. So they're blasting it through the Gulf Stream, essentially, is what they're doing it. Constantly spraying the skies. So if you live in Florida, I live in Florida, but I don't live in that part of Florida. Basically, there's a high level recommendation for detox. Use herbal heavy metal detox tinctures like cilantro, dandelion root, milk thistle, tulsi, basil tea, things like this. Anything that's going to help detox the blood because I mean, and you got to think about too all the places where you had that fog, right? We had the fog come in that was kind of strange. And so I think they're chemicalizing and weaponizing all things. And they do seem to target this gate system for some reason as well. Like it's a consistent target. No, I think the reason why is because this Stargate 2 essentially connects into so many places. Like it is also connecting to Mount Shasta. There's probably a ley line coming from Mount Shasta also down to Stargate 2. Oh, thank you, Alex Cortez. Thank you for the donation. I'll heart it. Much love. Thank you so much. But yeah, there's ley lines connecting down to Stargate 2. It's also connected over to Jerusalem as well. It connects over to Israel. Uh, and if the gate system was running healthy, that connection to Israel and Jerusalem would actually be repairing DNA. It would be repairing genetic time codes for all the tribal identities of the land. There is something very significant about Sarasota Stargate 2 very much being connected to the natives, the indigenous. Basically, all of the Trail of Tears stuff that we worked on, in Arkansas, this is deeply connected here. And they're really trying to rip, of course, the natives' connection to the land, the people who are the timekeepers, the Stargate keepers, the land keepers, the sacred keepers, right? They're trying to rip a lot of this up. They're And I think honestly, it would make sense to me that they're targeting Stargate 2 the most, though, because of the connection to Jerusalem, to Dome Rock, to the Temple Mount. I mean, if they can indirectly attack Jerusalem, if they can indirectly attack the Temple Mount and the Al-Aqsa Mosque through Stargate 2, they're probably going to do it. You know what I mean? They're probably going to do it. Ah. This is Stargate 2 here. Just tune you guys in a little closer here. But there's a lot coming through this place. I mean, this on an organic level, this is connecting to all of the Lemurian light grids, all of the organic Lemurian systems. They would be connecting here just as much as they would be connecting over at Mount Shasta. We don't think of this as much as the Lemurian connection, but it very much is Lemuria and Atlantis. This is kind of a converging point. Stargate 2 actually carries all of the historical Atlantean timeline records that occurred on the planet from the first cataclysm through the first cataclysm, which was when the Lemurian Holocaust occurred, when we actually had the fracturing of the Lemurian Atlantean grids, where that separating occurred. You know, the traumas, the atrocities, the force breeder programs that were installed. Sarasota too is deeply connected to this. I think that's why, honestly, what's really messed up about this is you guys heard of the twin flame reversals. You've heard of the alien love bites. You've heard of the forbidden love that can never manifest. You've heard of the toxic lovers and the reversal of twin flame energy, and basically sexual misery implants and spells, entities, incubuses, succubuses, all of these things, right? I mean, it's almost like Stargate 2 is a transmitter for all of those things, to run those reversal and distortion codes, to run force breeder implants, to run like all of the sacred marriage destruction codes, sacred union withholding tags, more of the birthing trauma, right? That's coming from the planetary root chakra. It's like manifesting more here. And I think it is because it's because of that first cataclysm, the first Atlantean cataclysm that occurred. It's because of the 13 crystal skulls that were encoded. I mean, it was a time where the Lemurian grandmothers and, you know, all of those that had the spiritual knowledge and wisdom, like they had to put all this information into the crystal skull quartz. I mean, I think this happened around these areas. So it's deeply impacting that deep betrayal wound between men and women, and it is very much tied to the Hawaiian Islands in Kauai and also Maui as well. Stargate 2 is transmitting to Maui. It's also transmitting, you know, to all of the Gulf of Mexico. Basically, this Stargate supports and hosts the entire, the Gulf of America. Um, so it's, I would say that the Gulf of America is blessed because of Stargate 2 being there. But that again, it's running this polarity, it's running reversals as much as it's running healing codes, and it's also blocked. So this Stargate impacts really the entire coastal region. You know, it's impacting all these locations and places. It's impacting everything, even down through the Cayman Islands, everything down through Quantaru, Belize, Costa Rica, the Panama Canal, the Bahamas. Stargate 2 is really governing all of this area. I'm in Pensacola, so I'm an influence of this. Like I'm connected to Stargate 2, all the way to Biloxi, Mississippi, Mobile, Alabama, Pensacola, Fort Myers, Florida. And I also think that Stargate 2 impacts and influences the North and South Carolinas, that it's transmitting up here as well. Hence for our boots on the ground gridwork mission we're doing in Charleston. Hence for that cross section on this map here where it's running through the South Carolinas. You know, in terms of like influence here going through South Carolina. So it's very significant, the codes that come through. And I mean, they're manifesting differently in different places, but it is important to know how far reaching this Stargate actually is. It's not just Sarasota, Florida. So I think that in terms of weather warfare, yeah, this Stargate being blocked, this Stargate being attacked, this Stargate being impacted, this Stargate, you know, everything it's going through, like this has a lot to do with the hurricanes that are coming through. It's almost like there's some sort of magnetic pole that it pulls them in, or they have their machinery or weapon devices in the gate system itself. I mean, I'd have to go down there to decode that more, but it is significant that now North Carolina just had Hurricane Helen hit. It was basically wiped out and taken out. Well, guess what? They have wildfires now. There's like all these wildfires that have erupted in North Carolina. And so it is suggesting that they are showing us right now their patterns, okay, their repetitive patterns where they're continually impacting weather manipulation and artificial environmental warfare. So it's a lot. It is a lot. That is for sure. And I think it's going to require not just grid workers coming together, but those that are soul record keepers of inner earth Lemurians, inner earth Melchizedek, the original Melchizedek lines, not Syrian Melchizedeks, not Anunnaki Melchizedeks, but the original bloodlines. These types are being called to action to actually work on these particular stargates because they have the keys, they have the codes to unlock the gates. They have to free the grandmother and grandfather spirits of Native American ancestors from Biloxi to Fort Myers to Pensacola down to Sarasota. The water systems. The waterways in Florida are very, very significant. They have a massive water problem in Florida where they are really shutting down the open river systems. So they're actually running out of clean water down in Florida. They need to open back up the natural river systems and basically allow everything to plug back into its organic resources. They've been closing this off. So the main thing that's impacting Stargate 2 is actually the river systems, the flows of water, the underwater aquifers, the underwater oceanic portals, everything that has to do with water up underneath Florida and through the actual crystal river systems, because this is why these are extensions of the Stargate, basically. You guys may have seen some of my videos that I have done where I'm floating down the crystal waters. I'm floating down these gentle aquifers and streams where like you can clearly see it's crystal waters. This is part of the Stargate system. This is the actual the Stargate network of Stargate 2. Also, the quartz network on the beach as well. Siesta Keys having 99% crystal quartz in the sand. So that's very, very significant as to why it's so powerful. And I have to tell you, it's not even just Siesta Key having 99% quartz. I mean, even if you follow the beach all the way up to Pensacola, we have a very, I don't know, I'd have to like measure the quartz in the sand, but I would say it's a very high quartz element and component in Pensacola beaches as well. And this is why it's so supercharged, right? And really the quartz coming from the cataclysms of Atlantis. So the quartz was a part of the pyramid crystal quartz, which, by the way, over here in the Bermuda, let me just zoom out a little bit. So I think this one's Bermuda, which is a J seal, of course, right? Because it's a black hole system. It's a wormhole system. And you guys, that's what the J seals are. They were seals. Now they're black hole systems. They're funneling black hole systems. And they are pulling cataclysm, prophecy, cataclysm timelines, cataclysm, Armageddon, doomsday parallels, potential parallels of devastation, basically ripping and tearing it down into the black hole system. And that's basically what the J seals are. They're all black hole systems. That's what these are. Black hole system, black hole system, black hole system, wormhole system, wormhole system, all funneling here to pull all this into it. It wants to break it off and tear it off into it Now, what's crazy is I think Atlantis still technically exists here. Whether it's in another dimension, an inner Earth timeline, an underwater parallel timeline, an ethereal timeline. I mean, I have actively been granted access to remote that, and I've seen thousands of pyramids up underneath the waters. Thousands and thousands and thousands of Atlantean crystal pyramids, etheric pyramids, quartz pyramids. Um, and now what I got when I tuned into that was that a lot of them, not all of them, they had been taken over by the dark forces. That AI was essentially merging from some of the pyramids, and that it was emerging from the Towie stones. You guys may have heard of the Towie stones, but this is actually a real thing. That the Towie stone, the actual most powerful Atlantean crystals that they had, was reprogrammed to distort collective consciousness, and that I think these Atlantean priests put it in the Towie stones. This is how they're running it over to Mount Shasta, right? And now down to Texas. We're going to get into this tomorrow night. If you haven't heard about the Towie stone, it was basically discovered by Edgar Cayce and an archaeologist called E.R. Johnson in Guatemala's Piedras Negras. And they actually say that they have a possession of a part of the Towie stone in Pennsylvania State Museum and University of Pennsylvania. So why are they holding the Atlantean Towie stone in the University of Pennsylvania? I think we should ask ourselves that question. But truly, I think there's probably the bulk of the Towie stones remain under the water in Atlantis and are considered lost Atlantean technology. But I did tune into it, and what I did see Toth. I seen Toth, and he was connected to the AI consciousness. Okay, he was basically what I seen, that it's the vision of Toth in which and who was mesmerized by AI, and that yeah, this unconscious dark influence that they had because they were so mesmerized by AI, they went ahead and developed it. They developed the cloud. They developed all the brain implants. They've already done this, and it created a power struggle with the singularity. So I think what we're seeing is either we're trying to overcome and go further than we did during the Atlantean era, but we're overpowering, we're blocking our stargates, and we're killing our organic resources to do so. And wow, yeah, the fall of Atlantis could itself be the whole grid going down into the black hole system. I mean, that could represent the fall. And AI is already feeding off of humanity's most valuable resources. It's feeding off of our knowledge as human beings. It's feeding off of our Kundalini energy from our planetary root chakra system. It's feeding off of our mental fields. It's feeding off of our DNA. It's feeding off of our genetics. It's feeding off of our telepathic empathy because it's actually learning us as we learn it. It's kind of also operating kind of like an octopus symbolism, and I think it has tentacles, and it's actually traveling up through the that ley line from the Bermuda to Mount Shasta. Like there's tentacle squids coming from the Bermuda to Mount Shasta itself, like AI tentacle parasitic nanotech, basically. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about it is when I say Shasta, Monique, because you're saying I grew up there and I'm saying no to the nefarious ones, they cannot have Shasta. It's not just Shasta. I just want to like clarify. Shasta is sustaining life force, organic Stargate energy that's sustaining the entire grid of California. So when we say that they're taking over the planetary root chakra and they're destroying that, they're feeding off of it, basically they're already hurting that Stargate by hurting the grid. It is a ecosystem that is connected. It's a life force energy that's connected. And the health of the land is generated by Shasta. It's its most powerful vortice, bringing in Kundalini energy inside the earth. So just think of it like that. Like it's an extension of the land in which it's governing. So you have to look at the whole. Can't just look at Shasta and say, oh, Shasta is fine, because Shasta may appear to be fine, but as each one of those environmental things, cave, block, fires, water, ecological fish systems, all that stuff begins to die, like that gets nearer and closer to Shasta itself. And so it's kind of recognizing that there's a bigger system that's functioning. And it's not just the outer appearance of Shasta, right? 3D, 4D, but it's the inner gate systems, the passageways up underneath, which are connected to other blocked locations on the grid. So if Shasta naturally transmits from California to India, right? And we get over to India, and you can see how all of the root chakra energy, all of the sacred sexuality, sacred marriage, sacred fertility, sacred birthing, all of this is under draconian hive law and rule, forced breeder programs at their worst. Basically, suppression of these things, like this is where is Mount Shasta pulling its energy from? Because it can't support the other parts of the grid on the globe that needs to be supported as well. It's an entire structural interconnected system, basically. So just try to think of it that way, if you can. Computer generated souls, it's isolated too many, all-seeing AI. The last vision that I had was over the Himalayas, Bermuda, and Amazon Delta. Yeah, those are all very significant points. It feels the blow. Gaia bucks back, grid workers, earth saviors. We're new earth builders. Well, and we're just, we understand. We understand the imperativeness of all of it, right? Like, so yeah, we have the Gulf of America. We know this is going through a transformation. We know that the Gulf of America is going through kind of a rebirthing energy. It is highlighting power struggles and political maneuvering. It's playing a significant role in global relations. It holds deep connections to social dynamics and trauma healing and relationship balancing. It's really holding like a dual-edged sword program kind of that's operating in the region. And I would say it is a lot of soul fracturing. And I want to say this is a lot of womb waters here, that this is itself is kind of like it's a nursery. It's a nebula. This and what's interesting about it is it's connected to the meteorite energy, right? Because you think about when the dinosaurs were impacted and we had the last 12,000 year flood because of the meteorite impact, or this is what we're told anyways, how one of the stories go, it actually impacted down in the Yucatan. And that is why there's actual sea notes there. So this is a very meteorite impact charged water. So I think it's significant to be paying attention to, and also to Stargate too, and what's significantly happening here all the way around in terms of, yeah, again, the political sphere, the military sphere, the Panama Canal, the global power, superpowers and conflicts that are playing out over the Panama Canal, over the Costa Rica, new canal that they're supposed to be constructing, all of the drill baby drill, pulling the gold out of the Gulf of Mexico, out of the Gulf of America. That's literally the terms that they're using. They're tying all of this to liquid gold, saying literally there's liquid gold in the Gulf of America. So it's like they know it's a precious resource, and here they are directly kind of targeting that. I think it's really highlighting a struggle underway between the US. And I think what we're going to see a lot of the conflict, this is my prediction, we're going to see a lot of conflict start to emerge down here, the Panama Canal, Costa Rica, where we have the Eagle grid, United States, and we have the Dragon grid, China, starting to have a competition for planetary dominance. And this is going to have some sort of significant impact on these waters. I think we're going to see that play out more and more. And of course, Stargate 2 has, a lot to do with that. Also, what makes me say that, why else I say that is I'm just going to show you another picture really quick. So let me pull up the geomagnetic vortices and ley lines here. This is another magnetic system here that I want you guys to tap into. So everyone can see this picture okay? See if I can close my screen because it's really big. Okay. So these are called the vile vortices, and these are areas on the Earth's surface which have natural occurring anomalies due to the planet's natural electromagnetic field. So there are these natural electromagnetic points that are spread apart into equal 12 parts across the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. And then it's almost like zigzagging, right? Zigzagging across the globe between the tropics. And I think these are the most heightened magnetic vortices. So yeah, Bermuda Triangle is highlighted very significantly here, but if we went down to the South Atlantic anomaly, I mean, that's going to be probably another significant point. Easter Islands we know is one. But what I found significant about this particular diagram is that the magnetic line from Easter Islands to the Bermuda Triangles is crossing past and through what? What is it crossing past and through? It's actually going through the Panama Canal. It's going through where I think we're going to see the dragon and the eagle competition play out. We're going to see the tension between the China and the US and the possible drilling and excavation of a new canal system that we don't know if it is or is not actually going to benefit humanity or benefit the Earth or any geological purpose whatsoever. And they're going to be, working to do that essentially. And so I would say that it's highlighting, the magnetic field where it's pulling things into it. Each vortex, though, that you see is hey family, drop it down and let me know if you can still see me. Something technically shorted out there for just a second. Can you guys still see me and hear me? Just give me a 5x5 if you can see me and hear me. Okay. All right, awesome. I had like a little miniature shutdown there happen for just a moment. I don't know if you guys seen it, but the screen literally crashed for just a moment. Oh, wow. Isn't that interesting, right? When we're talking about these magnetic lines. Yeah, we're tapping into some stuff. Okay. So yeah, but I think these points are very significant, and I think they highlight so much more, probably the Atlantean and Lemurian timelines in history, not just through the Bermuda, but this is something that's beyond Stargate systems. This is something much bigger, I feel. But I think where the lines are tracing the Algerian megaliths down to the Zimbabwe gold mines, over to the Maheno, Mohenjo-Daro, over to the Wharton Basin, the Devil Sea, Loyalty Islands, Kilauea Volcano. I mean, these are definitely highlighting some pretty significant resource vortices. And so, and what's being formed here at these locations are geometric figures. They're icosahedrons. So this is where a lot of the icosahedron or water geometry is playing out. So these would be very significant points, extremely significant. But it definitely ties into what's going on. Okay, so Stargate 2, let's talk about Stargate 10. So this is the other major blockage that I see is occurring. Stargate 1, Stargate 2, travel across the Atlantic, travel across the wormhole systems, and Stargate 10, which I've talked a lot about Stargate 10. So I suggest go back and watch some of my previous videos. I probably won't spend too much significant time on it, talking about it, but I mean, 1, 2, and 10 are basically, I think, where the most blockages are occurring. What I've seen with this gate system is clearly it's extremely beyond hijacked. I mean, it's just this is the harshest Stargate on the planet. This is where all the World War III propaganda is being staged. They're running advanced blue beam technology. There's cosmic conflicts that are being projected through the skies via Starlink. Everything AI-driven satellite systems. They're enforcing spiritual and physical control through Aquilan militarized power grids here, draconian power grids here. The Black Heart Leagues of Doom and grid systems are running here. High draconian commands, leagues, nobility lines. High Omicron, we're talking about this Stargate here. Omicron, draconian royalties and bloodlines. It's basically running reversal anti-life codes, Anunnaki, Enlil's army, Abrahamic regimes and dictatorships, all of the Metatronic codes, 55 reversals, parasites, viruses, spells, hexes, curses, antichrist, anti-life, anti-God, anti-feminine, anti-woman, anti-basically creation, Black nobility lines and leagues. This is unfortunately, this is a high-powered reversal Stargate that's impacting the fourth planetary Stargate in Giza. It's also affecting Mecca, Kaaba, Saudi Arabia. It's one of their beast machinery, weapons, and technologies, and which ties in. This system pretty much navigates, I mean, this entire area. I mean, everything over to probably Turkey, down to all of North Africa, Saudi Arabia. I mean, it really just governs this entire region. This one little Stargate right here does. And in the United States, it's very connected to the Georgia Guidestones, believe it or not. It brought in a lot of Aquilan codes from this gate site, planetary soul traps and dimensional ribs from Stargate 10. It's basically a power nexus system, and it's operating as the epicenter of galactic war on the planet. And it is acting like a Hydra entity. It's spreading war codes, mind control, spiritual oppression through Earth's universal tree of life. It actually runs the inverted universal tree of life. And there's just so much here. I mean, to list it all, it's just, you guys know, right? We've been talking about this. We've been talking about it a lot. But it's so important to be aware of Stargate 10, and its impact on the rest of the world, the rest of life, the rest of creation, you know, how hijacked this truly is here. I think what's most, and I think the best way to honestly work on this one is to work on the fourth planetary Stargate and to start clearing the feminine portal, because there is an organic feminine Stargate portal on the 33rd parallel, and it runs simply outside of the Sphinx. So it's really important for us to, I think I had a vision, I think it was yesterday or the other night, that we could clear the Force Breeder harnesses through the feminine Stargate portal of Giza, because they were linked into the actual Draco system through the fourth planetary Stargate. Like, they've harnessed somehow the Force Breeder chains through the feminine portal out front of the Sphinx. And to work to do like a Force Breeder implant, like clearing there on Giza, would really help with whatever's transmitting here between Giza and Abadan, Iran. But there's so much coming through here. I mean, this has everything to do with the Jehovian Anunnaki hybrids, hybridization traumas and programs. I think the Luciferian rebellion played out here, even though I think it originally occurred at Stargate 2, or even, yeah, Bermuda, Stargate 2. I think it's definitely got to be Stargate 2. I think this is where it occurred, but it's impacting and transmitting the false matrix, the Luciferian rebellion codes, to manifest and embed into the Iran gate. This is, so yeah, that's carrying the corruption of the Archangel Michael ley line, tampering of the blue ray spectrum, the red light spectrum, AI's infiltration into light waves, and it goes into the AI, all of the AI black goo, all of those systems, enforces the patriarchal domination. It reverses electrons in the DNA as well, so consciousness and extreme forms of mind control through predatorial threat, physical violence. So it's very subjugative of human weaknesses, basically. Very warmongering, bloodlust, bloodthirst, genetic elitism, religion elitism, hierarchical discrimination, divide and conquer tactics through the Iran Gate, alien mind control influences, creating militarized planetary structures. It's tapping off the Tiamat energy and this is why I think this gate has something to do with the ancient living goddess of Tiamat. And so it's almost like the Stargate network it's almost like the tree of life of the dragon or something. And so there's something with tapping off of her energy here. Again, they need to destroy the moon chains deeper here. It's just really linked to so much desecration. It's really intense. This one is it's a rough gate system. I mean, we could just go on and on and on, really. I mean, it's carrying false history records. That's what's scary about it. It's literally trying to eliminate or delete history and alter it. They're working with fall of the Babylonian financial black magic and mind control sorcery over finances, money laundering systems, banking laundering systems, all of it. So really, natural order, natural law has to be plugged in. I think it's definitely like an inner earth passageway that has to be cleared. The relations between the fourth and the 10th, because somehow this is significant to it as well. And we need to decode more of the relationship between the 10th and the fourth, because these are the two most powering stargates basically on the 33rd parallel according to the Eastern grid, right? And then this is transmitting over 33rd parallel to the United States, running everything through Stargate 2, and Stargate 2 is transmitting directly to Stargate 1, and Stargate 1's transmitting directly to the Bermuda, into the wormhole system. So it's they got these stargates. They do. They're predatorily draining the life force energy of these stargates. It's really frustrating to actually decode all of it because, the 10th Stargate still remains a battleground for Earth's ascension. That's what's happening over here. It's a battleground for the Earth's ascension. It's about reclaiming the Earth's ascension pathways because again, these are portals for incarnation and for also getting off planet. Again, if the Stargate network crashes, your Earth's immune system is say goodbye to it, like it's gone. So there needs to be guardian efforts to restore the true planetary architecture and continued grid work necessary to clear the remnants of the negative controllers that are operating and trying to and here's the frustrating thing. I mean, like you can see when you go to the fourth planetary Stargate how that's tampered. I mean, they got all kinds of walls built and police force around it, and you know, they claim those lands like people aren't able to get in and use it, tap into it. I mean, if people are really able to get in there and meditate in the Stargate and actually use it and power it for what it was supposed to be powered for, they keep people from being able to do that. They keep people from being able to work on the Stargates. And that's what we're supposed to do. As Starseeds, we work on Stargates, that's what powers and encodes our energy and allows us to be super spiritual, super intelligent, super sentient, super conscious with the Earth's bioenergetic systems and highways and intelligent systems. So it's a lot. It's a lot. But I hope you guys enjoyed this today. I thought it would be good to decode it on a planetary level according to what's going on. I mean, there's a lot of events that are occurring in the world. I would say the main focus right now is Shasta, Stargate 2, the grid work we're doing in South Carolina, and clearing everything on Planetary Stargate 4 and 10. That this is kind of right now, these are the most blocked systems, not even beginning to speak about really what's going on up here. Norway, United Kingdom, Ireland, Germany, Denmark, France, Poland, Austria, Italy, these are all in trouble as well. There's weakening systems here that are going on that we need to get in and talk about. But we'll probably cover it more in the Stargate, or I'm sorry, the Stargate, the New Earth Prophecy course. So I hope you guys will be joining me for this. Links are down in the description. It starts February 22nd. And I can't wait to dive in. We're going to bring so much more information in terms of the Stargates. I think we'll probably do a planetary Stargate clearing for the remote mission in this course. And then if you're feeling guided to do boots on the ground mission, work with us because we'll be clearing Stargate 1, we'll be clearing Stargate 2, we'll be clearing the Bermuda and our South Carolina gridwork mission. Boots on the ground, on the beach, on location, as close as we can get to JCL 3, as close as we can get to that black hole system, that wormhole system. We're going to be doing ceremony there to collapse those systems down to try to expedite the buffer zone of the detriment of those negative forces and planetary weapon systems and try to extract the dark forces, I guess, so to speak, out of the Bermuda, or however we can correct that magnetic vortex, or at least learn and decode more of what it is and what exactly it is doing. Because why is it ripping the parallel 3D timelines? Why is it pulling the tip of Miami into the wormhole system? These are all things I want to know, and I can't know unless I get closer to it, unless I can like super decode the energy mechanics that are there. So I think a lot of this information is going to come through in our boots on the ground mission work that we're doing. America the Beautiful, Let Freedom Ring, our planetary healing and grid work mission. It's going to be 3 whole days of grid work. It's to restore unity consciousness. It's to restore the crystalline grid, the Christ consciousness, the Stargate network, the rainbow codes. Oh, and speaking of rainbow codes, another thing that I remote viewed was all over India, all over the root chakra. I seen rainbow celestial fire all over the land. And what I also seen in the Middle East around the 10th Stargate in Iran was I seen that there were a lot of rainbow codes in these areas. It's like elementals right now. Elementals are going to the degradation zones. Elementals are fighting this war by themselves right now, and we need to help the elementals because they're being drawn to the blood. They're being drawn to the carnage. They're being drawn to the birth, where the yoni, the menstruation blood, the birthing blood. They're being drawn to areas where there's blood-soaked land. The elementals are being drawn to the blood and they're trying to heal this on the land. And so all this is happening, celestial fire, rainbow fire, the elementals appearing in rainbow form. There's getting sweeps and waves of rainbow energy to help try to sustain what's going on over there. So we're going to be working and pulling that into our boots on the ground, gridwork mission, again, focusing on prevention of war globally, healing the impact of the first shots fired of the Civil War, global J-seal removal, addressing hurricane devastation, and the hurricane pathways from the Stargate systems, right? Clearing that from the Stargates. We'll be focusing on also learning the history of Charleston. I think Charleston is extremely significant because not only were the first shots fired of the Civil War, that's, war timelines we need to repair, heal, rehabilitate, and clear, but it's also the location of the first liquor store. And we know how much people are dealing with alcoholism, how many lives this has taken, how much addiction is a problem for so many people. So we're really going to be doing a big clearing around that there. Clearing the slavery matrices, the victim-victimizer programs, the predator-prey dynamics, black hole entities from the WISA system, right? Clearing it all. Collapse and dissolve, collapse and dissolve, collapse and dissolve. Everything that's jacked up over there, whatever crystal pyramids have been taken over, whatever negative AI Atlantean priests are uploading themselves from pre-Atlantean clouds, like we're gonna try to do our best to restore what's happening. So I hope you guys join us for this. April 11th, April 12th, April 13th, Boots on the Ground mission. And it's going to be a nice event. We got like a beautiful, a lot of beautiful things planned, right? Like nice prepared meals, like beautiful meditations, ceremonies, just everything that's so healing on a soul level. So we're calling all of the grid workers, Starseeds, and Indigos of the 144 to join us. And we really look forward to talking more and more about this. So I think this will be coming up more as we get closer to it. We'll be talking more, but if you want to learn more about it, you can check it out down in the description. All the links should be there. Heart tarot analysis, DC needs more clearing. Yeah, so much is coming through DC still. I mean, really, if you think about it, every pivotal point on the planet that's holding a vortex or a sacred site, or they're all dynamically connected to the inner earth passageways, the inner earth portals, the inner earth cities. Everything should be. Everything should be open. Everything should be clear. But what's happening in DC is they've completely altered the sewer systems, the river systems, the water systems. They've you know, cut everything up and relocated it. Nothing's functioning normal there. They're biohacking the grids in DC. So, and plus it's ground zero for a smart city. Same thing that we know. I mean, it's not hard for them to implement in DC because it's a swamp and it's a crocodilian nest. It's a Draco hive connected to fourth planetary Stargate, 10th Stargate, basically the monarchy, the Draco seals, all of it, the Draco hive. But um they're trying to implement the smart cities over in California. So how do you weaken the grid? Attack the Stargate, right? Fires, all of that. Like on an organic level, this is going back to the organic root system of energy, which is that root chakra that they've disempowered. They've disempowered it for so long on a collective level. people try to heal it with crystals. I mean, you can do crystal grids, I think, if you have a map, and that would probably be very significant to get a map of Mount Shasta and place like a crystal grid around the location and energize it and power it every day to place guardian shields, guardian rescue shields, call in the guardian restoration, call in, the guardians of Andromeda, really just call in, they are working here with us already. I mean, they're bringing Stargate gatekeepers to me. I have literally met Stargate gatekeepers, people who genuinely gatekeep the Stargates, and they're coming to me with their messages, like, and they're qualified and quantified. I probably will be having one on the channel soon, and you guys will see exactly what I'm talking about. So, um, the Stargate systems, I mean, that's their message. The Stargate systems, the health of the Stargates, it's imperative us to start really paying attention, because if the Stargates get weakened again, we're not getting off planet. That's basically if the Stargate, if we destroy our Stargate systems, we're all staying here in a fall, basically a Bardo plane. I think it's the Bardo timeline. The Black Hawk helicopter blew up the American Airlines plane in DC landing. While I wonder why the military can train without that high consequence, seems nefarious because it was so precise. Absolutely, that was just insane how it just ran right into each other. I think more is going to come out. I think we need to find out who was on the planes, and we need to find out who's on the helicopter type of thing, because there's agendas for everything, Someone they want to get rid of is on a plane, well, they're just going to shoot down the plane. I mean, at this point, the gloves are off on all levels. The dark ones are operating in full force with their money, their power, their mobster mob agendas. They got the funds, they got the resources, and yeah, I just want to say it's not probably the best time to be flying. I would say it's probably better to be driving. I'll probably be driving to South Carolina when we go do that mission, because I don't know if I want to fly just yet. I mean, there's been a lot of plane crashes, a lot. I think before this one happened, there was like quite a few. I have to recall it and pull the information, but it's not so good. Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for tuning in with me tonight. Yes, the flow of water is the key. The flow of water is the key, especially for Shasta right now. The water resources, that was one of the things that we decoded, was the main water resources flowing down from Shasta down the main central portion of California, that was under attack. And then also the water systems in Stargate too. Everything coming down from, I wrote stuff down. There's a couple locations I wrote down. Um, Indian Point and Spanish Point, for Florida, that these resources here. And it has to do with the natives as well, like the people who would guard or protect, like they're ripping those people from the land. They're raping and pillaging the land. That's basically what's happening. So it has a lot to do with the flow of all waters really in the North Americas, especially the Mississippi, and the flow of that coming down to the Gulf of America, that being significant as well for natural law, natural order, and how much of the toxicity that we're dumping into the Gulf of America. If these really are the womb waters full of gold, full of, you know, just the true, like, not the fallen Atlantis, but holding like the powerful Stargate pyramids of Atlantis. Is it safe to visit Mount Shasta right now? If not, when do you suggest to visit? I've heard some people go missing there, but some people experience positive vibes. Wow. I can't say for sure if it's safe or not. That's something I would have to probably research a little bit. I think just like you and everyone watching, and, kind of get a feel for it. A lot of people that I know speak very fondly, that have been there, that live in California, that, it's a beautiful, natural, pristine, like, amazing. Stargate portal. But I think there's more going on. Like again, like there's more that's not meeting the seen eye. Um, on the 3D and 4D, things appear good and neutral, but I think there is an inner Earth battle going on there. So the 1D, the 2D, I think is not entirely safe in that it's under attack. And again, I think it's under AI. AI is what they're trying to plug in and tap off of the planetary power, the root chakra. They're trying to feed off of the Kundalini life force energy. So it needs to, I think clearing and grid work and ceremony and protective shields need to be placed around Shasta because again, yeah, it's sustaining all of California. All of California is sustained by that vortex. So, and not just California, Hawaii, the Big Island, Stargate 2, Maui, Alaska, everything that's transmitting down to Machu Picchu. Mount Shasta transmits to Machu Picchu. So Machu Picchu is kind of like its cleansing system and it takes on the burden in some ways of what's happening there. Jim says Florida's beauty is being covered over by Wall Street owned tract home builders. Sad. Yeah, it's like, yeah, a billionaire's elite club is buying up all the houses and building like things that are just completely unaffordable. I was saying, like, I feel like we're in a recession. I feel like we've been in a recession, actually. And my friends today, where I had a Sarasota Stargate to talk with them, they're like, it's not a recession, Indy. It is a depression. We are actually in a depression. So maybe someone should ask Donald Trump about that because it's pretty crazy right now. Times are tough for people, and there's no affordable housing in Florida. Could the Towie Stone be in central PA? I think a portion of the Towie Stone is in Pennsylvania. I think a good starting point to look is at University of Pennsylvania. I think they have it, or at least that's what I heard. It's on display there. Um, yeah, wow. Maybe if you're close by, check it out or something and see. Claims no records. Well, maybe it's there, but they're just not letting it be known, huh? People they seem to like to do that, not to be too honest or disclose information. The path for money has changed. The flow of money has changed. It's all being funneled into the billionaire AI revolution. That's where it's like what we're about to see is an elitist group of AI billionaire techs be the elites of the earth. Like they will be the only ones able to do anything, afford anything, buy anything, live anywhere, function everything, run everything. And they're going to set all the rules through AI universal income eventually. I mean, that's what they want to do. Everything's going to become robotized and controlled with drones. I mean, we've talked about the smart city agendas, and we're going to go into this is going to be our show tomorrow night. So tune in with me tomorrow, you guys. We'll be getting on at 7 p.m. CST. We'll have the roundtable, and we're going to go in on just driving this in with the AI stuff. So I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in with me tonight. Be sure to put a like on the video on your way out. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe, hit the notifications bell, and namaste, guys. Love you so much and take care. Love you guys.